Heidi, hi!
Hody ho indeed, and we've got kind of a special show for you this week. Would you call it a pre-post E3 show or a post-pre-E3 show?
Well, it got delayed, didn't it?
As a lot of things do around E3, do you know what I mean? So, we actually recorded this last Thursday, but what happened was we spotted that the Giant Bombcast had released their E3 Rumours show not until like Monday evening, and we thought not to be outdone, we'd leave it even further so that we look even cooler and all that. So, a bit different this week. We haven't got it in sort of separate sections because we thought we'd just like put all of the rumours we could find together and just sort of have a chat about them, really. And all things considered, we didn't really do too bad, did we, man?
Not bad at all, yeah. I think we got at least half of things right.
And we don't know that some things that we said that didn't come up at E3 might come up in the future, so you never know.
Hey, even if they don't happen, there are some fun ideas in there, so...
It might not sound quite like you used to either, because it's the first time I've like edited the show myself, other than that Mega Drive one a long time ago. So apologies if it doesn't sound quite like normal. But yeah, hopefully it will sort of make sense in the end. And even that Heidi High bit at the beginning, that will make sense as well. So yeah, enjoy the show.
Yeah, enjoy the show. Hope you have fun.
Hello and welcome to the AI Bots. My name's Dan Clark.
I'm Ali Mitchell.
And this week it's just the two of us because Chazzy has set off on his pedalo from Land's End on his way to Los Angeles for the E3 Conference 2013. I think we're the only UK podcast to have someone actually going out there, is that correct? Other than the big boys, I mean, obviously the big websites.
Well, I've not heard anyone else talking about it. I'm pretty sure we're the only ones, and I feel pretty privileged. I hope he does a good job, you know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sure he will. He's good on the pedalo, and he's had plenty of practice on his exercise bike over the past few months, and he's well on his way, and thank you for all the sponsorship for people like helping get this together on the Kickstarter and stuff. So yeah, we'll hear from him next week live during E3. But like, we've kind of lost our anchor, do you know what I mean? Like, the voice of reason isn't with us, so we weren't quite sure what to do. Because the week before E3 is a kind of, like, it's a slow news week in some ways, but you get lots of rumours. So, yeah, the rumour that to me has been most interesting is that of the GPU clock of the Xbox One. Now, well, that's probably turned off anyone who's not like anywhere remotely interested in tech. But what this means is the Xbox One is being manufactured currently. Now they have a silicon wafer, which is a large bit of silicon, which the chips are made out of. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really with you. But keep going. I might, you know.
I'll try and think of a better way to phrase it. Sorry.
It's like I'm asking a guy for an explanation. He's like, "Oh, I don't know if I can."
I'm not allowed. I can tell you, but I'd have to kill you. Okay, so right, you've got. Imagine like you had a load of little elves, and you had to make them a Marmite sandwich, but you only had 2 slices of bread.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So right, you can make them a sandwich. Now, when you cut into their sandwich, like imagine you were trying to turn 1 piece of bread into 100 tiny sandwiches.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Well, it does work, as long as you can cut it finely enough and you've planned well enough during the preparation that not too much Marmite and butter's going to spill to one side. The problem that Microsoft have got is that their elves are a little bit bigger and they need a little bit more sandwich each.
Yeah. Like the original sandwich isn't big enough necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can feed it to maybe like 70 elves rather than like 100 elves.
So this is a GPU clock. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably going off on a tangent a bit there, aren't I? But it will make sense, man. No, please, like, hear me out on this one, right?
Okay.
So you're making your sandwich for your 100 elves. Then it turns out, actually, I haven't got as many elves, but they're a bit bigger. They want a bit more to eat. The chance of you getting it wrong with silicon is higher if you're making larger sandwiches. And the sandwiches that Microsoft don't want to throw away are proving to be a bit of a problem.
Okay, but what? So what does this mean in basic terms? Because I'm not like versed in,
all right, I'll
in,
probably
in
like not
sandwich.
explain that very well
You
as
know what I mean?
So the problem is with chip yield. So they're trying to make chips, and if they're trying to make 100, maybe 10 of them will go to waste. But because they're trying to make fewer on the same bit of space, there is more chance that one of them will go wrong.
Okay.
So
And-
like they can throw. Well, at the moment, they're finding they're having to throw too many away, which is going to be too costly in the whole process.
So, like, does that mean that, I mean, on the surface, is that a worse problem than the Red Ring of Death was, then? Like, in simple
They're
speak.
probably doing this to prevent there being the same kind of problem. What they're doing is, if they do have to downclock, which downclocking's not confirmed, but the fact that they're having these problems with the yield of the chips is more than confirmed. That is definite truth out there. So it's more than likely that they're doing this to prevent the kind of problem they had with the rush in the lead up to the Xbox 360. Like they're trying to sort of cover their backs a bit and scale it back so that they're not having to put so much heat through those chips. There's less chance that those chips are going to go wrong on the wafer, that kind of thing. It's all very, very techy, but
Yeah.
But if they
But
do
it's
end up
a big weakness for the console, though. Like,
yeah, more so than you might imagine. I mean, at the moment it stands that the PS4 is looking about being possibly 50% ahead in terms of raw GPU power than the Xbox One. But if this all pans out and is true, the Xbox One has around half the power. Oh man, I've explained that really badly because like at the moment it looks like the PS4 has got 50% more.
but if Microsoft make these changes to downclock it or whatever, then obviously it's going to be twice as powerful, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it becomes like twice as much. And sorry, yeah, 50% is really bad. Thank you for like
That's
that
cool.
maths hole.
Yeah. Translating for the non-sandwich talkers. Like, yeah.
Yeah, for people that aren't elves out there, I think our listenership is about 30% elf. So yeah, I'm just trying to keep a nod to
That's being kind, isn't it?
Yeah, all right. Are you saying that one listener is like less than 30% elf?
Well, I don't know, part of me was thinking we were sort of 50-50 on the whole elf-dwarf split. And if we've got 30 elves, that means we've got 30 dwarfs, and I don't know if there's yeah, I don't know, doesn't
We'll have
match
to
up
wait for
to
Peter
me.
Jackson to make a film about the AI bot's listenership, as I'm sure it's rumoured somewhere among these E3 rumours. So yeah, you're right. It could end up that the PS4 is around twice as powerful as the Xbox One. Now, as we know from the last gen, it didn't really matter because developers used the weaker Xbox 360 as the lead platform, and just meant that less of the PS3 was being used, and by that token was coming off worse for it because the PS3 was very difficult to program for. But with the PS4 and the 360 being sort of in parity in terms of the complexity in developing, then I don't know, I think this could be quite a turnaround for Sony if
Yeah.
again these semi-confirmed rumours turn out to be right. You know what I mean? It's really
But
interesting.
what if the same situation happens again though? Like Microsoft just throw around enough money that again it's the lead platform, so the PS3, PS4, and you need to stop calling the Xbox One 360. Like, if
It's the same thing, isn't it? Ish.
I mean, yeah, what's stopping Microsoft from just doing the same thing again? So that the PS4 just gets, like inferior versions, or not inferior, but less smooth versions of.
Oh, is this tinfoil hats time? Do
Well,
you reckon it was slightly money-hatted, like the like Bayonetta, like is a big example from last gen, where there was massive disparity between the Xbox 360 version and the PlayStation 3 version?
see now you say that, but I don't. I'm not going to say there wasn't. Obviously, it's well reported that there was, but I've only played the PS3 version, and it's fine. Like I don't see any problem with it. You know what I mean? When people say the Xbox One's better, I'm like, well, how can it be better? But I guess I've not. You know what I mean? I've not played the Xbox One, so
clear and incredible.
okay.
But
it's still
I'm
good
sure
on
the PS3
PS3
one is
so,
as well. Like,
yeah.
yeah, and like, yeah, maybe when you're looking down to like individual pixels on a screen, you're probably looking a bit too far into like stuff that's not actually important to the game itself. So I totally understand where you're coming from, but I think this time it would be the opposite way round, where maybe the lead platform, if enough people pick up on the PS4 in the first couple of years, then that could end up the lead platform for the next gen. So, which would
And of
leave
course-
the Xbox One very much behind, rather than it has been the last gen, where even the more powerful console, if it's left as a sort of second best in terms of developing, hasn't been able to do so well. The Xbox One could fail on its arse.
Well, this casual market that they seem to be going for, like, that's the sort of person who maybe won't buy a console for another 3 or 4 years. They're not going to be day one purchasers. So in 3 or 4 years' time, if the PS4 does take the lead, then when it comes time for them to buy the console, that's what all their friends are going to have, that's what they're going to be looking at, thinking, hey, yeah, I'll take that over the Xbox. So yeah.
Definitely, especially after a 10-year console cycle, you know that you've got a couple of years to wait. Well, especially the casual market has got like 3 or 4 years to wait. That's where Nintendo capitalised with the Wii, is that it wasn't a market that were waiting for the new consoles. Like yourself and myself, I'm sure, were waiting for like the 360 and the PS3, but the market that the Wii got wasn't waiting for anything. Like, it just totally took them by surprise, and that's not going to happen with either of them this time, I don't think. Like, I can't see any casual buyers looking at either and saying, yeah, I need to buy that day one, or even year one or year two. I think Xbox are looking for a market that only exists once your console has penetrated the mass market and gone down to maybe a below 200 quid or below $200 level.
Yeah, and something I think is going to change, like, in terms of this current generation, I think they're going to be supported for longer periods than, say, the PS2 and original Xbox were. Like, we're still going to be getting good, like, PS3 games after the PS4 launch. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, I think they're going to be close to like 15-year cycles, aren't they? Like maybe even longer than that. Like,
And even like the smaller dev teams and indies and stuff, they're going to be bringing out games for PS3 and probably Xbox because it's cheaper dev costs than PS4, and there's still going to be a market there.
Yep.
This casual person, they're happy with their PS3 or whatever they have, so they don't need to buy into the next gen.
Well, that's the thing, and also when a PC is more important to your life, like outside of gaming, like even for people that don't game, a PC is ever more important to your actual life. Maybe people will. I'm not sure if the developers that are making sort of those indie games on the 360 and PS3 in the years to come, like they might put them on the Wii U as well, and maybe that combination might be quite popular. Do you remember people used to call it the Wii 60, I think, where people were like, get one of those and a 360 rather than a PS3 and move, I think was the like thing around forums at the time. And like I don't think that ever took off, but I think the idea of maybe a Wii U, like a last generation power system but with a slightly different control scheme, plus a PC that can keep up with your multi-platform games, that might work. I don't know.
Sounds good to me. I certainly hope the Wii U doesn't fail. I mean, everything's been really negative lately, hasn't it? Obviously, sales figures and everything.
Yep, and ever more executives and financial people are saying Nintendo should go multi-platform. I'd hate to see that happen.
Yeah, it'd be horrible. I've seen some other people saying they need another new console out in the next year or two, a proper kind of next gen one. And again, I just think there's no need for that.
I don't think so.
Like, the Wii U. Yeah.
Graphics are so good at this point. Like last gen graphics, I can't see. Like, I know this is a perennial thing where I can imagine people back in like 1982 looking at Defender and saying, I can't see that graphics are ever going to get better than this. But I think there's some truth in that, at least in the past few years, that all you're doing is like increasing, say, stuff like tessellation and ambient occlusion, which is how your eye perceives light and how architecture is built. Do you know what I mean? Now, once you're coming down to those types of things, that's kind of more than...
Yeah, things are clearly looking good enough as they are.
Like, if you're noticing that, the game's not immersive enough, dude. Do you know what I mean? Like, simple as. Like, so the first couple of years of the next generation are going to be really interesting. I think there's possibly going to be a bit of, but not maybe quite as much of, the 3DS, Vita, Wii U type launches, like a very slow burn, which maybe... Like, people say all these consoles are dead after like months, and then suddenly there's a pickup. Like, well, at least with the 3DS there's been a pickup. But maybe when you're looking at something with a 10-15 year life cycle, the first couple of years aren't going to be the easiest. You're like trying to get that into people's hands, to get developers to put projects off the ground, you know? It's like, it can't be the easiest thing to do, can it? Like,
Yeah, but, I mean, I feel like I'm in quite an awkward position because obviously I'd love to buy a PS4 the day it comes out, but I just kind of want to sit back and watch and see what happens.
Did
with
you buy the
everyone.
PS3 on launch day?
No, I bought it on the launch day of Metal Gear Solid 4. So yeah, similar thing might happen. It'll just be when a game comes that I feel I need to
That one
upgrade
game
the
that you need
console
to buy
for.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's a bonus if there are others that are in the back catalogue already.
See, if
so
you were going to buy it launch day, would it be the first launch day console you've bought?
I think it actually probably would be, yeah, definitely. Because I got PS2 on the day that Metal Gear Solid 2 came out. Like, there's a bit of a theme progressing here. Like, new Metal Gear game is Metal Gear game. Sorry,
And then you
that's
bought,
a different
you
thing.
bought another PS2 when Metal Gear 3 came out because there wasn't a console to get for it.
Yeah, like PS2 Mini
Yeah.
or whatever, Slim. Like, to play it online. It's a true story. Like, I actually bought Metal Gear, like a new PS2 when Metal Gear 3 came out, so I could play it online.
No,
because
no,
my
really,
original
really,
PS2
really,
needed
really.
a modem. Seriously. Like, because the PS2 Slim, you could just plug an Ethernet cable into the back of it straight to your modem,
Yeah.
whereas with the original PS2, you needed like a proper big modem type converter thing. So I swapped from original PS2 to PS2 Slim. Like for Metal Gear Solid 3, fucking hell. It's like my favourite game of all time,
Yeah, fair
come on.
point.
Like, along with the
Did you
PS3
wait
one.
to get a PlayStation 1 until Metal Gear Solid 1?
No, that was Final Fantasy 7 moment. so,
Good.
yeah. What about yourself?
I don't think I've ever got a console on launch day other than the Master System. And then I suppose the Mega Drive kind of counts because I got a Japanese import which was before the launch day, if that makes sense, but it wasn't a launch day. Yeah, I don't know if that counts or not. Like,
I think it counts, like you're into the minus numbers.
yeah.
So,
Like, I
yeah,
could have gone
yeah.
to the counter that day and just like got to the front of the queue for the Mega Drive and said, no thank you, here's mine, and just shown them my Japanese one and walked off. Yeah, I was kind of pre-zero in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I'd ever buy a console within even the first year of launch nowadays. Like, maybe that makes me sound like, oh, I'm not a dedicated gamer or something like that, but I don't think that's the way it stands anymore. I mean, they are going to be about as expensive as the last consoles were at launch, and yet the economy's been through like a huge crisis since, and people aren't finding things quite so easy. So
And there's such a back catalogue of games which, like for this current generation, which you can just go back to and revisit. And they've got online communities you can just play.
well, that's something that I'm finding fascinating with one of these other rumours. Now, one thing that could get me interested in the PS4 as a launch console, or even just close to launch, is that there's a rumour that if you've got PS Plus, you might be able to play PS1 and PS2 games for free via the Gaikai streaming service. So,
That would be incredible, but then you have to question like the back catalogue. I mean, are they going to launch with a big back catalogue? Is it going to be just the games that are currently available on PSN, for instance, or
yeah, I'd imagine it'd be that, and you'd get it as a slow drip feed over like a certain number of months or years. But I don't know. Again, it's another sort of plus in that direction, at least for myself. But
oh, it'd be brilliant. Yeah, I mean the PS3 can't even really play PS2 games, so it's a step
how
forward.
do the PS2 classics work on the like? Do they run fine?
Do you mean the PS1 classics? Yeah.
No, the PS2 classics, the ones they've released in the past year. Like, you know, you can get like God Hand and a few of the others. Yeah.
Yeah, I've not played any of them, so I really don't know. I assume they work okay, but they work like the PS1 classics in that you can't go to your XMB during them, and like there's no achievements or anything.
Sure. So it
You
like
can't-
works
yeah.
outside of the whole system. Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. But I've not played any actually. So yeah, I've still got the original like PS2 God Hand here if I want to play that with my PS2 Slim.
Ooh, lucky
So-
you.
Yeah.
They're also saying PS Plus might give early access to Sony Pictures films. So again, I'm not sure that's something that I'd be too interested in. But again, it depends on the film, doesn't it? There might be like some film that comes out and you're like, I want to see that before the Blu-ray releases.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, if this is true, then how they announce it. Because obviously, we saw that Microsoft conference quite recently where they just spoke about TV.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Sony aren't going to just talk about like having early access to films, but I don't know. It'll be interesting just to see how they
Yeah,
announce
definitely. And I think I can't see it being free. I'm not sure if the fact that they've said they'll be available to means that hey, you'll be able to rent them before we sell them on Blu-ray, which probably isn't a big thing to announce, really, is it? It's just like a kind of little.
that. Yeah, and it's something people have said they should do for years anyway.
Yeah.
Because you can rent films on the PSN, so why not? And introduce like a rental service with PS Plus. sure it'd be easy enough to implement. Not that I know how to.
Or even if it was just part of the normal service, but you got access to films early. If you like, you can only watch the trailer if you're not on PS Plus, and the film if you're not. So yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Stop. Have time.
Have a Kit Kat.
See, I've seen a lot of rumours, and there isn't really anything that's actually making me get excited or interested. It's, there's lots of things that are interesting. It's nice to see. I mean, like, Insomniac might be now making Xbox One exclusives. I think that's, it's interesting with them previously being PlayStation people. But then it's just companies move around all the time. I mean,
It's not so much of a surprise anymore, is it?
I think there's one interesting thing I've heard, which I think might be ridiculous, but they might be making a Demon's Souls 2, like, as, alongside Dark Souls 2.
Yeah, or not alongside, like a rival product.
Yeah, exactly. But then surely it would also be made by From.
I don't reckon it would. I reckon this might be the people that own the rights to Demon's Souls. So is that Atlas?
Well, it was Atlas in North America, but it was published by Sony in Japan and then Namco in Europe. So I'm not quite sure who would have the license at the moment.
Yeah.
It's quite a complicated
I'm guessing
issue.
it's whoever owns the original IP, which maybe isn't From. Now From have gone on to do Dark Souls. So would they get another team to basically do a copy job of the Dark Souls Demon's Souls formula? I don't know.
It's interesting, yeah. Like, at the least, it just no one knows what's going on, and it sounds out there. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it doesn't happen. But there's strong enough word that it is going to. So, what if it was a Xbox One exclusive? Like, you wouldn't see that coming.
Yeah,
would you?
fair enough. Although there's a lot of things that are being hawked as Xbox One exclusives that actually may not be exclusives. Again, this is pure speculation and rumour, but there's talk that Xbox have been paying publishers and developers to not show their PS3 versions. Now, the plausible side of this rumour is to not show them on stage, which I can understand. There's also talk that it comes down to the show floor as well, which I think that would be too much. Like, how horrible would Microsoft look if they'd done that? It would be just another in a long list of sort of PR disasters over the past month or so. I can't see that panning out. How about yourself?
Well, like you're saying, I mean, if it's just money so that they don't show things on stage, then I mean, I can accept that. It's something companies do. It's fine. But to actually, if they go out and they've been paying people just to not announce games for the systems that they are on anyway, then that's definitely wrong. I mean,
it's mad, isn't it? Although the
Yeah.
same thing, like there's a lot of tit for tat. It's getting close to console war, which I'm sure is going to happen when new systems launch, isn't it? Everyone calms down towards the end and like, yeah, actually, like, they're all quite good in their own way, but it's all going to kick off again.
See, again, I don't think it's going to. I think people are getting, like, not apathetic necessarily, but I don't know, people don't care about console wars anymore, do they? Really? Like, grown-ups.
You've seen the internet, man. There are still people that care. Like for this, people are still saying, yes, but don't forget that Sony did the same with Assassin's Creed on the PlayStation 3. They paid Ubisoft to say it was exclusive. Well, not even to say it was exclusive. To not say it was exclusive. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all very sneaky, and it's obviously gone on for years on various consoles. Like, I'm sure it probably happened with, like... it clearly happened with... And admittedly, the dates were spread apart as well, but with, like, Street Fighter 2, where originally it was like, this will never appear on a Sega console. This will never appear.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later it did. And it's like, oh, it did. And I think it's just
Well,
the same thing all over again,
yeah.
isn't it? Like,
Well, things have always been like things in PR and marketing. It's not a nice place, is it? Really?
yeah, fair point. Yeah, it's
You know what I
like,
mean?
it's a
People have
cutthroat-
been-
cutthroat world, especially when two consoles are launching head to head, which we haven't had in. Actually, has it even happened ever before?
See, I'm trying to think,
Well,
and it's
See,
difficult.
we were
yeah.
looking earlier at the video of the Saturn announcement at E3 1995, which, if you haven't seen it, please go on YouTube and look out. Yeah, search for E3
Yeah.
1995 Sega Saturn announcement, you'll find it.
It's worth it. It's totally worth it. Trust.
If
trust
any of
us.
the console reveals this year, or even last year, the Wii U, had been like this, I would have been on board day one. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a different world. Like, really, really arty-farty PR and marketing. It's weird, isn't it? Like, I don't know. Don't even know how to explain it. Just go and watch it yourselves and find out. But
like, we don't want to say anything specific that happens because it just ruins the experience.
exactly,
You really need
spoilers.
to
Oh, we
just
don't want spoilers.
go into it with your eyes open and also your mind.
And also see, like, maybe the console market would be... Because the Dreamcast ones were just as weird. There were a lot of very odd Dreamcast adverts. And just how different the landscape might be now if the Dreamcast had never failed. Like, would we still be having these launches with, like, I don't know, like, shaven-headed women talking into the camera about weird poetry and shit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but if they still marketed like this, then everyone would still think video games were evil, and you shouldn't play them. They're only for losers. Now they've got the, you know what I mean. Now they've got the jock in the Brett market.
That's a very good point. But I'd love a console to be like marketed as a console again. Like, I'm hoping that that's the way Sony go this time. I think there's a lot of nods on social media from like some of the high up people at Sony that seems like they kind of get it. But I don't know if that's just a response to this PS4 no DRM protest that's been taking place.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of this, and I think it is interesting that they seem to be responding to fans' concerns by saying that the PS4 is not going to have this DRM.
Well,
thing,
did you see
but-
there was the game coming out on the Vita that has the initials DRM, and then they're like, it's official, DRM confirmed for Vita, and it's like, you can't, if you're going to end up putting DRM
Yeah.
in your console, you can't do that.
I mean, that's tantamount to an announcement, really.
In addition to creating an amazing library of new titles on PlayStation 4, we're equally focused on delivering what gamers want most, without imposing restrictions or devaluing their PS4 purchases. For instance, PlayStation 4 won't impose any new restrictions on the use of PS4 game loop. Guess that's a good thing. We believe in the model that people embrace today with PlayStation 3 and continue to demand. Just heard you there. When a gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever. In addition, PlayStation 4 disc-based games don't need to be connected online to play. Or for any type of authentication. If you enjoy playing single-player games offline, PS4 won't require you to check in online periodically. and it won't stop working if you haven't authenticated within 24 hours. We remind ourselves that you gotta earn the consumer trust every day.
They're going to lose a lot of good faith.
Which is exactly why they can't be doing it. Because surely there's, even though they're the bosses that are saying this stuff, and it's real high-level bosses that are saying it, there'd surely be someone at least accounting for their mouths. Do you know what I mean? Or their thumbs, like on Twitter.
Oh yeah, they've got to ask someone's permission before they tweet anything. You know what I mean? Anything that isn't their lunch. Kojima loves that. Hideo Kojima, like, he just fucking posts pictures of food all day. It's like, yeah, cheers, mate.
That's what you signed up for, isn't it? You didn't want to know about Metal Gear Solid.
Oh man. See, today Konami had a little pre-E3 like conference thing. I say conference thing because it was more like a Nintendo Direct. It was just like a video where they were telling us
they
stuff.
did the same last year, is that right? I'm pretty sure they did.
Probably. I don't pay attention to Konami unless it's Metal Gear Solid time, if I'm honest. But yeah, they announced Kiefer Sutherland is going to be voicing Snake in Metal Gear Solid 5. But David Hayter has previously already confirmed that he is going to be in the game in some form. Like David Hayter, if anyone doesn't know, he's been the voice actor for Snake for, you know, since Snake had a voice.
In fact, I bet he was even the voice actor on the NES. They got him to read the lines, even though the computer couldn't do it. They've still got recordings somewhere of him doing the dialogue.
Kojima's personal cassette tape. Like, it's gonna come out one day. Like the tapings of Dale Cooper in Kojima form. But yeah, like, I mean, they're not changing the voice actor for the Japanese version. Japanese, same guy as it's always been. But they're giving us Kiefer Sutherland, and I don't know, it doesn't necessarily leave a bitter taste in my mouth. Like, I quite like Kiefer Sutherland, I'm sure he'll do a good job, but why have they got to do this? Why can't they just keep David Hayter? I don't understand, you know what I mean?
think it's all part of the greater metagame of the whole Phantom Pain and Ground Zeroes duality. Do you know what I mean? Like, saying these are two parts of the same game, that kind of thing. I think it maybe relates to that, but I can't see how it would, because you can't say, oh, actually, Big Boss isn't Big Boss, he's two different people. He's actually Kiefer Sutherland as well. He's that guy from Flatliners. Like, you can't... That doesn't work. So, I can see where you're coming from. I can see ways they could do it, but it's going to have to be played quite cleverly. Unless they're going to do, like, one word each. That would work. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember when, like, you have to do assemblies when you're, like, 5 or 6, and you and your mate both have to do an assembly? You're like, should we do one word each? Yeah. Welcome to the assembly. And it'll be like that. And it'll be Kiefer Sutherland and David Hayter doing a word each. I'd love that.
Well, you said there, like, you think it's maybe a thing between, like, sort of the two ideas of the Phantom Pain and Ground Zeroes. I mean, we were speaking before off-air, like, the possibility of, you know, there might be a game on PS, like, part 1.
Yeah.
And then a part 2. Maybe a cross-gen, or...
It would be a horrible idea, and I don't think they'd do it, but...
Yeah, because it wouldn't work, like, 360 and Xbox One as well. You know what I mean?
Well, it could still work, but I don't think they'll do it. But my thinking, in a mad what are the possibilities way, is that they'd release, like, Ground Zeroes on the next-gen consoles and Phantom Pain on the current-gen consoles, and say, yes, Metal Gear Solid 5 is both of these games, the same as they have, but rather than be one game, they'd be two boxed products that you have to pay separately for. But I'm pretty sure they wouldn't do that, man. My thinking, I'm calling this now, my thinking is that Kiefer Sutherland is Snake's voice inside his own head, whereas David Hayter is the voice for when he's talking outside of those situations. And for most of the game, as he's in confinement and not talking to other people, the voice that you hear is the voice inside his head. That's my call. I could be totally wrong, but hey, I'm like...
Oh, it's an interesting theory. I mean, I know they've got Kiefer Sutherland, he's also doing the motion capture for it. Previously, you know, they've never used the voice actors for the motion capture in Metal Gear, I believe.
Ah, yeah.
But now they're going for... Well, I suppose it's what they've been doing in Uncharted, like using the real actors.
It's only because David Hayter couldn't do the CQC.
Yeah. Sorry, just thinking Kiefer Sutherland probably isn't... Yeah, sorry.
But hey, haters
Yeah.
be hating.
Haters be hating. It's cool, but I'm sure Kojima was saying in this Konami pre-E3 conference that one of the reasons he's gone to Keith Sutherland is because Keith Sutherland is around the same age that Big Boss is going to be in the game. So therefore, his face will move like someone who's that old. And I don't know, it's just a step too far, isn't it? I mean, not a step too far. It might be brilliant. I don't know. Do you need Keith Sutherland? You know what I mean, they should have got Willem Dafoe. But...
I was just about to say, are there any actors that you would like to see in a game? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd love to see Johnny Depp in a game. There's been Kingdom Hearts where they've had Captain Jack Sparrow, and there's been Pirates of the Caribbean games, which I haven't played, but I think most of the time they get a sound alike, like they did with Kingdom Hearts. Is there anyone that you'd really like to see act in a game?
I suddenly can't really think of any actors now you've said that.
It's all good. Ross Kemp?
Well, yeah, Ross Kemp, Call of Duty, any day. However, no.
Sue Pollard?
I think I'd prefer to see Jenny
What, you mean
Eclair.
they're different people? Fuck.
Yeah, Jenny Eclair in some Little Big Planet DLC. So you can make your own Jenny Eclair levels. See, now I'm just thinking of people who I might possibly see on Just a Minute. It's like Graham Norton, Sue Perkins, Tony Hawk. Not the
he's had his
skateboard
games,
Tony
yeah.
Hawk. Yeah. Nicholas Parsons in my head and that piano music. I don't know why this has happened. You said Sue Pollard and I'm thinking, Just a Minute, come on.
Sorry to drag this back to, like, actual rumours and stuff, man. But,
Yeah.
you know I'm a massive Vegas fan. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I'm a massive Sega fan, man. And you know Sonic and the Lost World isn't exclusive to Wii U. There's a rumour that Sony let that go for, quotes, another project of some significance. Now, I don't know what from Sega that could be, because it looks like Yakuza has some ties with the Wii U, which is maybe one of the biggest franchises they've got in Japan. I don't know what else this could be. Any ideas?
Well, Shenmue 3 is always a possibility, but
I really wanted to say it, but everyone's going to say it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. But
yeah, but it might happen. I mean, you know what I mean, in the Yakuza
you gotta
engine.
believe.
But no, I mean, yeah, why would they release Yakuza 1 and 2 HD on the Wii U if they were going to release that to Sony? Although maybe that deal happened before this deal happened.
Yeah,
Who knows?
yeah.
Like, if Yakuza's the franchise. But I actually thought, and this might sound ridiculous, but Bayonetta, like, no, not Bayonetta 2, we know that's going to be on the Wii U, but maybe future Bayonetta games, because Sega own the rights,
Yeah.
didn't they? And, like, I'm sure Nintendo just own, like, Bayonetta 2 specifically, so it's an idea, it's something people would love, something I'd
Also,
love.
it would make sense if it's going to go from Sega references in the first one to Nintendo references in the second one. Then the only natural place to go from there is Sony, like, unless you're going to have Master Chief and like the girl from Cameo and like one of the rolling balls from Fusion Frenzy 2 or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, Sony's the next natural place if you need to do something original with that franchise. So,
Well, something else that's been happening with the consoles, like, rumours keep coming out that all these free-to-play PC games are going to be, like, console exclusive, so people think Hawken, the mech shooter, is going to be, like, Xbox One exclusive, and League of Legends is probably going to be Xbox exclusive as well.
will be console exclusive.
Every time I say exclusive again, just hang up. It's fine. I'll call you back.
Yeah, PlanetSide 2 was rumoured. Like, we checked the list of rumours yesterday.
It's a nest. We checked the nest for rumours.
Yeah, we were looking at these rumours yesterday of like the MMOs being on consoles and similar online games. And back then, PlanetSide 2 was rumoured to be console exclusive for PS4. Now that's been confirmed since, so I'm guessing Microsoft have probably got something like Hawken to go up against that.
Makes sense, although, I mean, Dust 514, that came out on the PS3 quite recently, and the server numbers, the amount of people playing it, doesn't seem that great. I don't know if, will people go to these free-to-play games, or will they just stick with the Call of Duty? Because that seems to be, you know, where the crowd is anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. But it looks like Call of Duty seem to be... Now, I don't know if they're going to get a bit sort of waylaid by this, but between Black Ops 2 and where it looks like Ghosts is going, they seem to be concentrating more on the single player. Now, I don't know if this is through like focus testing or how they're getting to this, but that's not their strength. But it looks like they're kind of maybe taking their eye off the ball a bit in terms of the multiplayer, just because they've got it locked down. They know what works. They know what works for their player base.
I think this is what happens after years of people talking about how good the single-player story is. I mean, I don't think the Call of Duty single player is that great. It's just like a shooting gallery.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But all the reviews and stuff are like, oh yeah, best single player ever. And I know some people who love the single player, they think it's a great thrill ride. So I think it's maybe Activision listening and just getting above themselves. Like, yeah, let's really bang home this single player.
Oh man, I was just about to like fall into like. See, I'm not a COD fanboy, but I was just about to say like, but Black Ops 2's got a really good story, but it has.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, obviously, it's not bad, or it wouldn't, sell what it does and be as respected as it is, etc. It's good. I've played them.
But I think if they concentrate on doing that, they're missing where their almost entire market is the fact that, like you say, it's a de facto first-person shooter for the entire generation, really, isn't it? Like,
it's a mistake EA made with Battlefield 3. I mean, they introduced the single player for Battlefield 3. And it's just horrible, really horrible single players. I thought it's terrible anyway, and I love Battlefield 3 online.
It doesn't even feel like the same game. Like, it works differently in some cases. I mean, it's not like a single player version of the multiplayer engine. It's kind of its own thing.
But then the Bad Company single players worked, so I don't really know where they went wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be easier if they'd kept it like the older. I mean, I've recently been playing Battlefield 1942, and the single player in that is just like go through a series of kind of missions against bots, but in some ways they'd probably be better off doing that if
like a training tool for online,
like, rather than trying to ape the COD formula of having like this single player 6-hour roller coaster and then the multiplayer that is what anyone buys it for. Like,
yeah, see, I saw a rumour that Retro Studios, who I think are pretty good, they've made good Wii games, and of course Metroid Prime. I heard that they're going to be announcing, or rather, Nintendo will be announcing a game called Star Tropics that's going to get made by them. Now, I don't know what Star Tropics is, but you do.
Yeah,
so what's Star Tropics?
It's an action RPG type, top-downy, Zelda-y thing from the NES. And people have been waiting for years for like what's going to be the next Retro Studios project. People are like, they've done the trilogy of Metroid Prime. What can they do now? Will this be like Metroid Prime Reach or whatever?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a rumour, very much unconfirmed.
Yeah, because I'm sure I read somewhere else recently that they are going to be making another Metroid game. And I mean, they could make both, in theory.
And bear in mind, the other rumours from the same source are Mario Kart Wii U, Zelda U, and Super Mario U, which I think we all know are going to happen anyway. So Star Tropics could just be their little hope in their heart that it will happen. But it's like an old school Zelda-esque Earthboundy type game from the NES, which I think would be very surprising if they do bring that back, because that's the niche of the niche. So
yeah, but if they made it all 3D and they made it good, then could introduce it to a whole new generation. I don't think they'd bring back, a 2D top-down RPG.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be like that anymore. But
yeah,
it's not like the history's got anything against it as such, other than in the minds of people thinking, why are they bringing that back? And there's nothing wrong in that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
But I thought I had quite a good knowledge of NES games and whatnot, and I'd honestly never heard of it. So I don't know. I suppose it's just an American thing, because I've never heard anyone talk about it or anything.
I've heard it on a lot of American sort of retro podcasts. I remember it from EGM at the time as well, so it probably is an American thing. Yeah. So obviously, the other Wii U rumours are Mario Kart Wii U, never. It's not going to happen, is it? And then Zelda. Now, it seems like this is going to be too far away for any actual gameplay to be shown. But there might be a couple of bits of art, who knows.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll be focusing on the 3DS Zelda for now.
Which runs, apparently, at 60 frames a second, even in 3D. Which is quite impressive.
Oh, it looks beautiful. And obviously everyone wants to go back to the world of Link to the Past.
Yeah, or go forward to the world of Link to the Future. There's also some talk about Super Mario U. Now, we all know there's going to be a Super Mario game that is 3D and a bit like Galaxy 64, Sunshine kind of thing. But this one seems to have a codename of sorts of Super Mario Retroverse U. Now, again, this is all very speculative, but would Nintendo dare do something that goes retro but in 3D? Do you know the look I mean? Like, a bit like Proteus on the PC or something like that.
Okay, no, I couldn't see them daring to do that. I mean, I'm sure it'd be wonderful if they did. I'd like to see it.
But they're not going to do it, are they?
Yeah, they're just not going to do it.
Which makes me wonder what they mean by Super Mario Retroverse. Is it just bringing in all the old characters?
Or 2D levels in 3D? old famous 2D levels from the Mario games.
Yeah,
maybe.
a bit like Sonic Generations type thing with Mario, maybe, like where you get the same level that you've already played, like.
I mean, something that just popped into my head, which is ridiculous, but all the 2D platformer Nintendo characters in one game, which is named like Mario Retroverse, but it's got Kirby in there. You can play as him.
Yeah, yeah.
And like you can play as Donkey Kong, or
Kind of like a Smash Brothers, but like a
but
platform
a platformer.
game. Yeah,
Yeah, like Rayman Origins, where you select all the characters to, you know what I mean, to play that.
yeah. But you've got like
I don't
different
know.
skills. Like you've got like Knuckles in Sonic, like can do the climbing stuff as could like some Nintendo characters. Yeah.
Yeah, and we know Nintendo are good enough at the design of platformers to make levels that would work like that. So yeah, just a silly idea that just popped in there.
Oh, but now
It's not
everyone's
gonna
going to want that. Like, you've started petitions worldwide, Ali.
I mean, we're talking about platformers possibly for the Wii U. Now, this is a ridiculous rumour again, but there might be like Banjo-Kazooie 4 for Xbox One, or like a new Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, I
basically.
don't think they call it 4 because 3
yeah.
wasn't 3, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was just nuts and bolts, wasn't it? So, but I mean, with the PS4 having its like knack, you know, that game which is quite forgetful that they showed.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like little console launch mascots, like we used to always, you know, everyone
Yeah,
had
like Bug.
mascots. Yeah, I don't know, clutching at straws, but it'd
Yeah,
be
or
nice.
Blinks. That's what they need. Sorry, that
Yeah.
sounds like it's one of my favourite games of all time. I hate it with a passion.
Monty Mole, right? Like, come on, bring him back.
We need more moles in gaming.
To provide us with rumours, like.
There's another rumour that seems to have some weight behind it, is that Final Fantasy Versus 13, the long in development game, long in development, there's been Final Fantasy 13-2 since the announcement of Final Fantasy Versus 13. Well, there's been Final Fantasy 13 since then as well.
I'm sure it was announced before I even had a PS3. Like, that's how
Yeah,
long
it
ago
was
it
announced like not long after Final Fantasy 13 was announced. Do you know what I mean? It was like going to be this whole universe of games. Now, there's a bit of talk that might now become Final Fantasy 15 and be possibly exclusive to PlayStation 4.
They're not going to go console
You
exclusive,
wouldn't
are
think
they?
so.
I mean, they want to get as
Although,
much as they can.
you having said that, it's just made me think of something. What if they were to kind of reskin it with a different story? Like, take the work that they've done on Versus 13, strip out the 13 universe and characters, and redo it that way. I mean, there was going to be a perfume launching in Japan next week that is named for one of the characters from Final Fantasy 13. And they've now put off that launch for another couple of weeks. Now, is that because they're going to have to rename it, or because they don't want anything associated with that universe that week? There seems to be something to this, and it's obviously not going to all be there to see until E3 week. But this is one worth keeping an eye on, because there's something going on there. And like, if you buy Final Fantasy 13 perfume, then apologies, you've got a 2-week wait for your delivery. Like, what? See, I checked this out after I saw this. This looks to be one of the things that people are looking at, is the perfume. I thought, hang on, what? Final Fantasy perfume? So I looked, and there have been various scents released over the years in Japan that relate to different characters in the series. So.
Wow. See, I used to love Final Fantasy, and I'd be the sort of person who would possibly import that if I could afford it. Like, not anymore, but there was a time when I maybe would have. I never even knew that the perfumes existed.
Do you remember
That's
they
incredible.
used to sell? Was this for Final Fantasy 9 or 12? I can't remember which. Probably 12, because 9, the internet wasn't as big as it is, and I think they relied on that. But they used to sell, it was like an energy drink, but it came in the form of the bottle that you got in the game for like some kind of potion or something. No? Did I
I
dream
don't know,
that?
man.
Maybe I dreamt it.
I never even knew about the perfumes till a minute
So
ago,
now I've ruined your life, and like you're gonna like live in this Final Fantasy world. And, like, I didn't realise there were sofas. I didn't realise there were Final Fantasy like airships. Suddenly, Ali moves to an airship. So yeah, are there any other big rumours you've come across? Mirror's Edge 2 is one that seems more fact than rumour now.
Yeah, it's pretty much gonna happen. I mean, I hope it happens. But the thing that worries me is saying that it might be Xbox One exclusive. I can't necessarily see that. I mean, it might be, obviously. We know they have a partnership with
See,
EA
I don't
now.
think it would be exclusive either, but again, that could just be us being over-hopeful, but...
Yeah, or it could be Microsoft telling people not to say that it's coming to the
Yeah,
PS3.
and also, it's only come from like one listing that went up on Amazon Germany. Now, it could be that the person's job that day was to put up the Xbox listings.
Xbox
yeah, and the
ones,
PlayStation
yeah.
ones were going to be the day after. And like, so they weren't doing them in game order, they were doing them in system order. So it's difficult to tell what's happening with that one. But it does seem like there might well be a Mirror's Edge 2, so
Yes,
So-
good news.
Or will it mean that Battlefield 4 was really bad? Although I'm sure there's plenty of people that dice to make sure that it all works out all right.
Yeah, like another thing I've seen is that Kingdom Hearts 2.5 will be coming for PS4. I mean, I just don't think that's necessarily a big story. Or,
It's almost
you know what
obvious,
I mean? It's a niche
isn't
game.
it? Like after Kingdom Hearts 1.5
Yeah.
on PS3, which has turned out like a way bigger
Yeah.
hit than they expected, I think.
Has it really? Okay, I wasn't
Well,
sure.
the amount
so-
of expectation there seems to be for like the Western release, and I think Kingdom Hearts like perennially does well in Japan. I think this like it's almost a given that, that they're going to do a second Super HD release on the PS4.
Yeah, and then hopefully, finally, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, it'd be like Kingdom Hearts 1.5.9.
Bloody love those games. Like, people look at the Kingdom Hearts games, they think, oh, Disney characters, Square characters, and it's like a kid's RPG, bollocks, blah blah blah. Bloody brilliant, though, they really are. Like, the combat is
see,
decent.
Chazzy really wants to play these. Oh man, that sounds like I'm like saying, oh yeah, Chazzy wants to play Disney games. Chazzy wants to play Disney games. I'm not, man. But when we were at Gplex, I was trying to say you'd really like them, man. Like if you like Ni no Kuni and the kind of charm and the atmosphere of it, like you'd really enjoy this. So I think he's now waiting for Kingdom Hearts 1.5.
I think that people, like, even, like, when you travelled from world to world in Kingdom Hearts, it turned into a top-down shooter. Like, did you... I don't know if you remember or if you played them, but you had to play a top-down shooter and you had to build
I remember
your
the
own
one
ship.
from behind the ship. I think was it Kingdom Hearts 1 was behind the ship and Kingdom Hearts 2 was above the ship.
Well, technically it was behind the ship, but I'm just talking mechanically.
Oh yeah, I get
suppose.
you.
Like,
yeah,
it was,
aiming around
you know,
the screen.
It was
Okay,
a top-down
yeah.
shooter. And yeah, like, it got really in-depth. You could build so many different types of ships, and levels were, like, randomly generated, but they'd get harder at certain times, and... I mean, that's just, like, a
One
little
that got me
thing.
is what, like gummy cubes. Why was it gummy cubes?
Yeah.
And it used to make that like noise when you like put them on the ship.
Yeah, and the Chippendales were, like,
And it
your
was like, why are they
engineers.
gummy? Why is it a gummy ship? Other than trying to squeeze something about the gummy bears in there somewhere. You don't want to put the gummy bears in there, but you want to have something that relates to it a bit. Never got that. But
Yeah.
have you got an explanation for that, or am I just gonna like
I'm not that much of a,
gummy bears fan?
I was going to say researcher, but I suppose, yeah. And I just played the games and enjoyed them. I didn't really go into this deep train of
Oh,
thought.
no,
about-
no, lie, man. It's just the gummy cubes annoyed me. Well, not annoyed me. It's like, why are they called that?
Yeah.
Bastards.
David Boreanaz, like Angel from Buffy, doing the voice of Squall from Final Fantasy, bugged me. But, hey.
A lot of the choices around that era, they got quite a lot of sort of like popular actors and actresses on board, didn't they? Like, was it Haley Joel Osment?
Yeah, I'm sure he played Sora,
Yeah.
like the main character. I just learned last week that someone who's currently on like quite a big TV show done the voice of Yuffie, the Final Fantasy VII character in Kingdom Hearts. Don't know how I found this out, but I found it out just like
Yeah.
recently. So it's just like popped into my head, like Yuffie, she's big now, whoever she was. It doesn't actually matter at all.
That kind of does. It's interesting because like they did pick some odd people to do their voices for like the Advent Children era and that kind of thing.
I bet it turns out to be someone, you know, like not at all famous now, and I can't even remember
Turn out
why.
it's Sue Pollard.
Like, yeah, Sue Pollard, right? I think I know who Sue Pollard is, but I need you to confirm this. Like, tell me, who's Sue Pollard?
Who's-
Sue Pollard.
In the Loose Lounge today, here to tell us about her 10 years of terrorising orphans, it's the rather lovely Sue Pollard!
I went to this fantastic place, and it's sort of like a S&M shop. I thought, I've got to have a bit of that, you know. I've got a flat above the shop. When I go home, it's really good. The first thing I do, knock on the door, go in. I still get excited when I see
Lovely Hugh Fernley Whitting stall.
in an alcoholic haze, even in the afternoon, sleazy looking.
Because there was no mattressing or anything. Sat on a rocking chair with over 100 underage teen
Student girls.
for some slap, tickle and pop for the first time.
It's fabulous. Just all the mashed potato. I used to love certain foods, and then you'd go off them.
The nice thing is that at least the carpet's not too soggy. Yet. They're usually tied somewhere.
You might be there for, say, 6 or 7 weeks.
They learn about 3 months beforehand what they've got to do.
And you can imagine what I'm going to say, can't you? There was a doorway, and if you went through the wrong door, you were stuffed. I'm afraid. And not only that, Don, you're not just doing it once a week. You're doing it 8 times, and sometimes for months on end, on a regular basis, daily.
There's also Neil Morrissey. I've not been to the gym for 6 months, darling, because, I mean, this is a great workout.
I like to think I'm a role model for the older girl, and I'm more than happy to do this. I have a lot of enjoyment doing it. There's no reason why I should say no, to be honest.
But I want to go to the toilet. So with a bit of luck, I think they should come out of this extremely well. And the sort of traumas that they come up with, all the sad things and the nice things, all ends up happily.
People don't expect to see Trevor McDonald dressed in
Ski pants.
But you see, the greatest thing was...
He presented me with a banana-shaped lunchbox. I mean, it's a flipping big thing, you know. Yoda said to me yesterday, however bad things appear to be sometimes, Sue, he said, you know, the human spirit can rise above that. He said,
choose wisely.
So tomorrow morning at 10 a.m, I'm going to be... I couldn't...
It's nice that you can still pleasantly surprise people.
Do you remember Heidi High?
Okay, yes, she was the, I want to say receptionist, but she was more like a room checker and cleaner
yeah.
or something.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
I've got
I
a
know what you mean.
really weird story about Sue Pollard. Can I tell it?
Just to be clear before you do, she does look a bit like Jenny Eclair, yeah?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't 100 miles off.
Yeah, you weren't
okay,
100
cool.
miles off at all. No, you were close, man. So my parents took me for my birthday meal. I was maybe like about 15 or something. We went for a birthday meal, and it was in London. And Sue Pollard was in the same restaurant. So I can't remember how it happened. Can't remember if I went over and said, "Excuse me, like, can I have your autograph, please?" Like, not that she was very famous. Do you know what I mean? Like, not a great claim to fame, but it was like, "Oh, it's my birthday. Like, go and ask." And then like she sent over an ice cream with sparklers in it for my birthday and stuff.
Oh, that's really nice.
And the waiter was like, "This is from Sue Pollard," and put it down in front of me. It was like, this is the weirdest thing ever. What the fuck? But then, weirder than that, years later, I worked for Directory Inquiries. You know, like 192. BT Dan speaking. Which name, please? BT Dan speaking. Which name, please? BT Dan speaking. Which name, please? Except you only record it once on your first day, and you record it on a computer, and they play it out, right? When you're finishing your last call, they play that out so that little second or so, half a second of time, isn't wasted in their system. Do you know what I mean? Like,
all right,
that's how maximise our profit BT are. Like, how weird is that? That no, you can't answer the phone every time. You just say it once on your first day, and then every time that you have to answer the phone after that, we'll do it automatically so that the call comes through quicker. What?
Yeah.
But yeah, then I got a call come through, and it was from Central London, and I was like, I recognise this voice, and it was Sue Pollard that had rung through on Directory Inquiries, which, of all the people that could have phoned through and me got it in, like, there's loads of centres around the country that do Directory Inquiries. It was like, what are the chances that you bought me an ice cream on my birthday, and now I work at Directory Inquiries, and now you phone me asking for a number? I was like, is that Sue Pollard?
Like, did you mention it?
Yeah, she was like, yeah, it's Sue Pollard. And I was like, yeah, you bought me an ice cream on my birthday once. She was like, oh, that was you. Oh, hello, love. It's like, what? Yeah, baffling.
I want to try and get her on one night. If we just get you sitting next to a phone for long enough, like, it's going to be her eventually, you know what I mean? Your paths are, like, intertwined.
So anyway, they say good luck comes in threes, so obviously had like 2 of my goes with Sue Pollard, and if you're listening, Sue, get in touch. You can email at theaibots.com, or you can find us on Twitter
at the AI Bots.
Or you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theaibots. We'd love to hear from you, so yeah, get in touch. And sorry if that was really random and waffly, but we got there in the end. And we'll speak to you next week. Take care.
Bye.